strangling these 13 rebel colonies by blockading their trade with all parts of the world, as to quote the Declaration of Independence on that. And because of this blockade, the price of the few things that did make it through the blockade was astronomical. So Abigail's idea was, don't send me money, send me stuff. And you can watch that letter 2 months across to John, and to his great credit, he agreed to that idea. And he started sending her all these items. Cloth was the biggest thing, but finer things like china, a lot of women's fancy things like handkerchiefs and so forth. And they really transformed the relationship between Abigail and John, which I can illustrate by a shipment that he sent in 1780. He'd come back to Massachusetts very briefly and gone right back to Europe again. They had to put in at a Spanish port. And he sent her this big chest of Barcelona handkerchiefs. It was more than 300 of these handkerchiefs. And this arrived in Massachusetts in the middle of a sort of marital spat between John and Abigail. About that will before hearing your questions and thoughts. You're probably wondering, who'd she give the money to? Well, remember that I said that she had these two sisters who were really in tough financial shape. Both of those sisters had sons who were in bad shape. Abigail's brother's family was in even worse shape. There's clearly an alcohol gene in the Smith family, her father's family, because her brother, like two of her sons, drank himself to death. And before drinking himself to death in 1787, William Smith had a bunch of sons, and they were in bad shape in 1816, several of them financially. So she's got all these grandsons who are in really terrible shape economically when she wrote her will. She also has a bunch of nephews who, or sorry, I have to mention the nephews. Grandchildren, I should mention too. Her parents didn't want her to marry John Adams. They wanted her to marry up, and that was not an up. And she defied them. Her children did the same thing to her. All of them married down. But that meant that a lot of